Hi Capricorn, I'm Anisha. You can write to me at tarotbyanisha@gmail.com. You can also visit my website www.tarotbyanisha.com. And today we are going to be speaking about this Saturn transit in Capricorn in 2014. Capricornians, Saturn has been in Scorpio since 2012 and it has been transiting a part of your chart that has to do with travel, it has to do with friendships, it has to do with teams, it has to do with larger communities, it has to do with groups of people. And this transit carries on till about 23rd of December when finally Saturn is going to be moving into your 12th house. Now Saturn is known as a hard task master, and every time it comes into a part of a specific part of your chart, it wants you to focus on it, it wants you to make the change. Basically Saturn brings things to conclusion, so it wants you to conclude things, not leave things at a loose end. And for a lot of you, I think where you could be taking your friendships extremely seriously, this is I think since about a year and a half already, since Saturn has been there. It's there for about 2.5 years in each house when the Saturn transit happens. And this is your second year, so since the time end of 2012, since it's been there in your house, you could be taking friendships extremely seriously, and in any case Capricornians like to have very few friendships, which you invest a lot in those friendships, but you could be a little disheartened by those friendships, and you could be feeling a little let down. So Saturn is really showing you all the aspects of friendships that is there, Capricornians. It's asking you, and again every time when a Saturn play happens into our chart, into a part of a particular house, the finger gets pointed at us. It's not really the friends that need to get that are taking the blame. Saturn is asking you, what sort of a friend are you? Do you really live up to the expectations of, or do you really deliver as per what it is that you expect your friends to do for you? Are you the sort of friend that you would want or expect your friends to be? So a lot of hard questions around these things are going to be asked by Saturn. And so for those of you who have been sitting and pointing the finger at the other side and saying, I felt so let down, or this one didn't come through and I've done so much, Saturn is again going to be turning the finger at you and asking that, why is it that you draw a certain kind of friendships to yourself? What is it that you exude externally that makes certain people come to you in a pattern format? So it's a great time, opportunity it has been, and it carries on being there till end of the year, Capricornians, to make these changes. For those of you who are in toxic friendships, it's a good time to be re-evaluating them and seeing them for what they are. On the other hand, if you are being the toxic one in the friendship and your friend is just staying silent and being there with you, maybe it's an opportunity for you to be making that change in your... Saturn transits have been feared for centuries. The superficial reading suggests that they bring about all sorts of calamities with it. They bring dissatisfaction, they bring about sudden change, they bring about illness, they bring about depression. A lot of times I've also heard people say, that, oh, Saturn is there in my chart for 2.5 years or for 7.5 years, and this is the worst period, and I'm, whatever else is going wrong in my life, this is what it is. Saturn is to be blamed for it. So Saturn has quite a bad reputation. He is known to be this mean person, who's mean just for the sake of being mean. Now Saturn has... Now what Saturn does is that it brings things to conclusion for you. So be it a part of your chart that it is transiting. So say for example it is transiting your 10th house. That's a house of, it's in the mid-heaven, it's between 9th and 10th. That's a spot as to where exactly it is. And it's a house of your career, your reputation, and how it is that you want the public to view you, your outside image, and how it is that you're viewed, your success is viewed. And when Saturn transits, you're very selfish and miserly. However, on the other hand, if your I's are all dotted and your T's are all crossed, and you choose to work along with Saturn, that you choose to share those resources, that you choose to stay humble, and you choose to understand that power has been given to you, which could be temporary and it is not really there for your selfish gains, then success, the kind of success that Saturn brings you at that point of time, it is phenomenal. It could It's extremely rewarding, and Saturn, before it leaves your chart, say about 2.5 years is approximately when Saturn moves each planet, and you could receive a job promotion, you could receive some professional kudos, it could be some form of a public professional recognition that could be there, a lot of accolades. So the kind of rewards that come with Saturn are really phenomenal. You could just be completely be blown away with it. So the trick over here is to work along with Saturn. 10th house, there could be some tough life lessons around moments which have to do with leadership, which have to do with your success, how it is with you, that you deal with people at your work, how it is that you, how it is that you, I think not only just deal with your success, but how it is that you deal with power, the chair which you're occupying, and there could be that you're given lots of power. Are you misusing it? What is it? You could also find that groups, teamwork, community, all these are also under the stern gaze of the Saturn transit. And you could be taught a lesson or two on, where it has to do with group activities, it has to do with maybe clubs that you are part of. And it could focus on loyalty, it could focus on reliability and dependability. So again, you would be asked, what is it that your contribution has been towards a group, towards a community, whether it's a club or it's something that you feel very passionately about and you're associated with it. So while on the other hand you're busy pointing fingers and saying, I have not been supported and I have not been taken care of, Saturn is going to be asking you that what has your contribution been? How have you stood by? How dependable, how trustworthy are you in a group or in a association or a cause that you have attached to yourself? Do you really sustain it, or do you just sort of get attached with causes and say, I would love to do this, and after a little while it just sort of fizzles off? Saturn could also challenge universities, legal systems, and travel to a certain extent, long distance travel when the transit is there. So don't be surprised if you are having a tough time, whether it is trying to restart an education or trying to pick up another degree, or if it's a long distance travel, there could be some hiccups, or maybe the journey could not really result into what it is that you really wanted out of it. It is also, I think, transformation is also required for you to upgrade yourself, to really upgrade and update yourself so that you can really fit more into the global society that we live in, Capricornians. No longer your traditional or rigid views that are there. They are not going to be serving you much purpose. The time is really to evolve, and that is what Saturn is going to be pushing you to do. So if you were to just look at Saturn as holding up a mirror to you and pointing at you the flaws, the areas that require, not even flaws, the areas which require work in your life, and you make an effort to make those changes, Saturn, by the time that it leaves your door, will leave a gift for you which will last a lifetime for you, Capricornians. It's been a pleasure speaking with you, and thank you so much for watching.